things which haven't really moved with the times. And I think that's why some people are disillusioned with the fact that religion is stuck in its set ways and it hasn't moved to adapt to the needs of the 21st century. So I'll give you a specific example. If you take within Catholicism, they teach, as I'm sure you're probably aware, that all abortion is wrong no matter the situation. I mean, the only exception to that is the doctrine of double effect. But any other examples you can think of, too young, grape, whatever, is wrong. Now, that has been held for quite some time, going back to the time of Aquinas and natural law. So all I would say to that is, I think, in short, so I've waffled on a little bit, that there are good things to religion which people can still look to for guidance, but there's a lot of stuff that is outdated, and we almost need to strip that away and go back to what, as much as possible, the true message is.
See, not a lot of Christians follow the way you follow. They follow the book to the T. And because God is timeless and all the omni-properties are there, he should have created a book which would have been carried on forever, basically, and it would have made sense forever as society's changed. But because it now doesn't make sense, it's painfully obvious that it's not true. The Christian religion is just not true because it doesn't make sense in today's world. Some people still hold on to it, and it's not. And it's nice to think about the nice things it's done, but all the horrible things it's done, you don't want to talk about it, or you want to shove it under the carpet. And the reality is, it's done a lot of horrible things. I'm going to yield the mic, and if anyone else wants to speak, I'll give it back to the host as well.
Fitz, can I just come back to your point, because I think it's a really interesting point that you make. And you said about the Bible kind of is along the lines of it's no longer relevant. I'm almost going to defend the Bible here to an extent. I think the Bible should be scrutinized like any other book. As I said, I think at the beginning to the host, I see the Bible, which it is, as a collection of books written by many different authors, predominantly male, some female. Whether they were written by the original people, that's a discussion for another time. But it was written at a time where they believed what they saw and experienced, and there were rules which were clearly believed they were applicable at the time. So one example I can give to you is in the Old Testament. I don't know if I can block. I might have to change the wording of this. Forgive me, because it might be banned on live. But when a woman was on her monthly cycle, according to one of the rules of the Old Testament, she was considered impure, and you couldn't mix with them. Now, that's nonsense. We know that. Now, I'm not saying it was right, because clearly 2,000 years later, we look back at that and we realise, using our reason and logic, that that's complete nonsense. But back then, it was believed to be a rule that people should follow. And we've grown out of that. The creation story, for example, in Genesis, there are some Christians who read it literally, as in, 6 days, 24 hour. I don't believe that. That's nonsense. I believe that God created the world. I don't know how, but I understand that other Christians might read it literally. Not all Christians do, but it was written at a time when people were trying to understand their experiences, what they believed they were inspired. And as we move forward in the 21st century, yes, things have moved on. But just because they've moved on, I don't believe the Bible is completely irrelevant. I think there are things that we can take from that, and we have to kind of strip away the positives, if you like, from quite a lot of the negatives. And I agree, there's a lot of negatives in there. I do agree with that.
If you took away every single, let's say, supernatural story in the Bible, Jesus walking on water, all the just out there stories, all the supernatural stories, how much of the Bible do you think would actually be left?
Are we talking just the New Testament, or just the Bible in general? Sorry.
Like how much can you get out of the Bible without all of the out there stories, all of the supernatural stuff that you would say in 2024 we would just never be able to prove.
Well, I mean that's difficult, because when you say never able to prove, I don't think we're able to prove it. But then that's a separate conversation in terms of the difference between faith and trust. Just because I wasn't around, and I know it's a really lazy argument, but just because we weren't around doesn't mean to say it's true. And conversely, you could counter it otherwise. So I think, in direct answer to your question, I couldn't put a value on that, or exactly how much would be left if we took away all the inverted commas supernatural stuff. I would look at the stories and look at what is in the Bible, and through looking at the evidence, come to, hopefully, in my mind, a conclusion as to whether I believe those events actually happened or not.
Guys, can I just say, prayer has been here for some time. Flying Bee and AD give us a minute. Prayer has been here for, so I want to hear.
Sorry, I've talked enough, so I'm happy to constate it. I'm just because I've talked a lot, so I'm happy to let them speak.
I want to know if prayer. Hello. Prayer. Shall we say prayer? Hallelujah, Father. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Shakara shakara papa shakara papa. Hallelujah. Prayer, are you there or no? I've sent you the thing to unmute your mic. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. No? Okay. No prayer. All right. Flying Bee, you wanted to chime in, and then we get AT's Cats.
AT's Cats was here online first, then you should probably go. I was just gonna simply ask a one-worded question to Fred, but AT's Cats can go first.
Yeah.
Are you going to ask a question?
Can I just say, guys, everyone tap on your screens, share the live so we can get more people coming in. And also, there's a gift goal up there. Send a few roses, a few points, a few, it helps to go a long way, right? And also, members of the panel, you can send a gift to them. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to give the stream a big thumbs up for me. Thank you. Hey, Rich.
There's something I found interesting. You believe that Jesus unalived and rose from the dead for humanity, correct? Fred?
Sorry, I don't know if you're asking me the question. Sorry. Yes.
It was you, sorry. You believe Jesus unalived and rose from the dead for humanity, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you don't believe the Genesis account. You think the Genesis account is not literal, because I'm assuming because there's scientific evidence showing that's not how it happened, right?
Clearly not available to the writers at the time. I don't think that was their intention, because there were other creation myths going and circulating at the time. But no, I don't read the creation story literally.
So you don't read the creation story literally, because that seems outrageous, but a man unaliving and rising from the dead, that does seem reasonable.
Yes. Go on, your point.
Why does that sound reasonable?
Oh, so I think, again, I can only go by my personal opinion. I'm not expecting you to believe this.
No, what I'm trying to figure out is, what's your methodology for deciding which items are metaphorical and which ones are literal? Because you don't believe the creation story, because that sounds fanciful. That probably didn't happen that way. But this other event that's just as crazy sounding, a man rising from the dead and such, that one does sound reasonable to you. I'm trying to figure out what's the methodology.
So if I may answer your question directly, so I'll come back. I'm happy to go back to Genesis, but if I just go to the New Testament when Jesus because that's really the heart of it, I believe. So I think in direct answer to your question, I think one of the reasons I look at is again by the Bible, obviously, but the appearances that happened after the resurrection and before his ascension to people who witnessed the risen Christ. That would be my methodology in terms of looking at the impact the crucifixion had on people, the many different accounts in the Bible.
Name one?
Sorry, may I just finish?
Could you name one of the witnesses?
Sorry. Oh,
Who was one of the witnesses?
The story. Yeah. Well, I mean, I could give you the example. For off the top of my head, you've got the story of the road to Emmaus.
Okay.
You've got the story of.
Wait a minute. So somebody had you mean Damascus, and that would be
no. It's not the road to Damascus. It's the road to Emmaus.
Emmaus.
Okay,
who was the actual witness, please?
Yes. So it's two of. I don't have it. I'm just paraphrasing off the top of my head. Really paraphrasing it. Two people walking along the road, and they're talking about, the crucifixion of Christ.
Okay, so
blah, blah,
up Luke. Pause. First off, Luke.
That's not Paul.
That's Luke. You're referencing Luke 24:13-35.
Yes. So the road to Emmaus. Yeah.
Right. So what we have here is a story that Luke collected from someone. It's not even Luke that did it because we don't know who the author is, but the person saying they're Luke, this person says this is a story they collected. This is found at the beginning of Luke 1, where he flat out says these are things I've gathered from other people.
Yes.
Why do you believe the story?
Why do I believe the story? Because is it Atheist? Sorry, I don't know who's talking. Is it Atheist Cat?
Yeah, Atheist Cat.
Sorry, just referring to you. Sorry, by name. Sorry, I can see who I'm talking to. So you're right in terms of Luke collecting kind of different sources. As I'm sure you're probably aware, that the Gospels weren't written until roughly the first one is believed to be roughly Mark, about 30 or 40 years after the death of Christ, give or take. Yeah. So none of them were written immediately after Jesus' death. However,
yes, in response, secondary sources.
I beg your pardon?
I know they're all secondary sources.
Yes, but I also believe in part of the oral tradition. Just because they weren't written down straight away.
Well, that's a big problem for us historians.
Well, may I finish?
Well, no, because I'm going to be honest, Fred. You tend to answer a short answer with a long section.
No, because you've asked me the question, how do you know?
Well,
and
Fred,
I said to you, in terms of the
allow
oral
me to introduce
tradition.
myself. I'm a historian, so you don't have to go through the history of the Bible with me. It's part of my job. So oral tradition is horrible because oral tradition, as it's passed along through people, tend to change bit by bit. And that's just within a short span. Now, take it over years, and suddenly the story changes, and we have no idea if the end result of this oral tradition matches the actual story. Because all we got from this is Jesus apparently sat with two people, ate some food with them, and then disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
You think that's a credible story?
Do I believe it's a credible story? Well, I mean, I'm happy to answer the question, but it might not be the answer you're looking for.
And would you apply your methodology to any other story like this?
I would look at the impact that had on the people to the point where these people were keen to share what
Name
they
the
had
two people.
I beg your pardon? Sorry?
The story has no name assigned to them. It's just two people.
Sure. But I mean, that's one example.
How do you know the impact on these two people?
Because if you read the rest of the story, these two people then went on and shared what they had experienced to others. I mean, the most obvious one I could give to you is the story of Doubting Thomas.
I'm taking a look and I'm looking at the story.
Sure.
I do not see, as I'm reading the story, because it goes to Luke 24. And when
Yep.
we get to 24, we're checking. We're not talking about the same people anymore. So once again, I'm looking, I don't see anything about how these people did anything with that information other than, from what I see, they worshipped him.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, if you take forgive me because I don't have a Bible.
And do you use this methodology with any other story you read?
Okay. Well, let's talk about then, if we may, Doubting Thomas.
Why are we going to Doubting Thomas?
No, because I just want to pick up on your point, because you're saying
No, I
what's
want to
your
stick
impact?
with where we're at, because we're not going to jump to another one. This is the one you chose.
Yes.
Would you use this methodology on determining if a story is true with any other story?
Yes.
Would you use the same?
Yes.
Really?
And a short
Okay.
answer to your
So if I have a story
yes.
that shows that people saw the dead Elvis, unalived Elvis, and unalived Elvis sat with them and then disappeared, would you believe them?
What, to the point
With
that
the
they were
exact same evidence you have here?
but to the point where they were prepared to share that message of dead Elvis to all different
No,
parts of the world?
It doesn't say anything about sharing the message here. These two people in this story does not go and share the message. They just worship him.
Right. But if they experienced that, do you accept it would have had an impact on them? If what they experienced was true, would it have had an impact on them?
Just because a story says it had impact on the characters does not mean the story is true. There are passages in Harry Potter where the characters experienced something and it had a massive impact on it, yet you don't think Harry Potter is true, do you?
Right. As a historian, do you believe Jesus existed?
No, actually, I don't. We don't have historical evidence for the man.
And this is where.
Generally speaking, I mean, we can never say 100%.
Hold on 1 second.
Well, no.
Hold on, please, 1 second. This is where the conversation started. And hey, Godless Reggie, this is where the conversation began. We started talking about the existence of Jesus. And I told the gentleman why I don't believe that Jesus existed at all. So you're hearing now from a historian, and I would like for Atheist Cat to go ahead and explain why you say Jesus didn't exist.
Sure. First, we have to look at the sources, because what we have is a claim. So we have to look at what is the evidence for those claims. The first thing we would look for is primary sources, which is artifacts or documents created by eyewitnesses at the time of an event. There is no primary sources for Jesus Christ, not a single one. Everything is secondary sources, which are documents or artifacts created by an eyewitness or someone else after the event. Maybe they're analyzing somebody's claims, whatever, but it's secondary. That does not mean it's invalid. It does mean there's other criteria we have to start looking at. The first one would be the Gospels. That's the strongest one. However, even with the Gospels, we don't know the authorship. The length of time afterwards is more suspicious than if otherwise. And when we look at the information in them, we compare them to events or information outside of those stories to see if there's anything to corroborate them, and there's not. They're just stories. We have nothing outside those stories to corroborate them. So we can start looking at other sources. Did any historians write about Jesus around the time period that he had lived? No. Do we have any mentions of Jesus from trade routes, other countries, other areas of the time period who would have heard or passed along these stories? No. It's not until later, once the religion starts getting going with the way, that there are bits and pieces told of the scripture, not of him. So the first thing I would ask is, what evidence is there, in your opinion, that historically shows Jesus Christ existed on this earth? I'll wait for Fred to return.
And if Flying B wants to say something about this as well.
Thank you, Afro. I just really wanted to ask Fred, why? Like why do I almost feel like, because I do feel that you are reasonable in some way, that you're trying to use your brain and say, well, no, the creation story can't be true. This can't be true. This can't be true. But why is there still like a safety latch that still makes you want to say, well, you know what? I'm going to throw away the parts I disagree with, but I still want to agree with the Bible, and I still want the Bible to be a book that what's the point? Why?
That's a good question. Because he clearly, when he came up, he said that he doesn't read the Bible literally, right? It's written by men. It's not divine.
And women, some women,
And some women. So
supposedly.
How do you know some women, though? I'm kind of curious on that. So we know no author of the Bible who existed.
Well, I was
How
just
did
about
you
to finish
decide
the
one was a
sentence
woman?
while I was interrupted. But we do know, well, I say we do know, I'll rephrase that. We don't know who or the authors of the Bible, whether they were male, female, what was majority men and majority female, we don't know.
no, they were
And whether they wrote under a different pseudonym. So we don't know the answer to that question.
Then we should throw that part of it out.
Really, Fred, I have never heard anybody, any scholar talk of any female who wrote anything in the Bible. I'm talking
Right.
about theological scholars all over the world. And from
I don't want to distract because, Fred, did you step away from the app so you could look up a source about Jesus existing?
No, I just muted myself so I didn't interrupt you.
Okay, so while you're here, my last question to you was, my question to you was, what historical evidence do you believe we have that Jesus existed?
It's a classic, really. I'm not talking about Jesus being crucified. If you're asking me in terms of Jesus,
I'm asking him just existing on the earth.
Sorry, do you have a habit of keep interrupting constantly?
Yes, when you don't answer the question.
Well, then, if you're going to be rude, I'm not going to answer your question.
It's not rude, it's keeping you on point.
Right, so
do you have any
you can
historical
again.
evidence that Jesus Christ existed on this planet?
So one example could be Josephus. Can I? And before you interrupt me,
are you talking about book 18 or book 20?
I don't
because
have
you
the
did
time to be
read
honest with
this,
you.
right?
Sorry.
Have you read it?
Have I read it? I haven't read it for a while, but I've read it.
Okay, so when you're talking about book 18 or book 20, which one do you think it is?
I think it's book 18, but this is years ago.
Okay, book 18. So you're talking about the known interpolation?
Yes.
Okay, you know what interpolation means?
Yes.
So why are you using it as evidence?
Because I would see it as one of other sources of evidence that could be used to support the claim.
What's an interpolation, Fred?
Sorry, don't patronize me.
What is an interpolation?
Well,
because your answer shows me you actually didn't know.
I'm not going to be patronized by you. So when
you
you
didn't know it, did you,
patronizing,
Fred? You didn't know it, did you? Because your answer shows you didn't know it. Why did you answer that?
I'm just going to mute myself, and then when you're ready to finish being patronizing,
so folks,
I'll resume.
What he pretended to think to know, what he didn't, is an interpolation is something added by someone else besides the author at a later date. So his answer of why he used it doesn't make sense if he knew what an interpolation meant. It sounds like Fred just didn't want to say he didn't know something. And that annoys me. Because then it's...
That's okay. That's okay. I mean, it's a chance for all of us to learn something, right? At least now.
Yeah, and I'm fine with teaching. And I can go into teacher mode. If I'm being a little aggressive, I can switch to teacher mode. I can do that.
I don't know if...
Would that be better?
I don't know if Honeybee has a question.
Oh, yes. I'll pass it off since he doesn't want to talk to me anymore.
Honeycomb.
Everyone, I thought you said Flying B. Hi, everyone. I had a question for Well, I wouldn't call it a question. I think it's more of an observation, respectfully for Fred. I actually respect the fact that you owned up to not accepting everything in the Bible, but based on the problems that we have today regarding religion, Christianity as a whole, where different churches are claiming to have different calling from God, different this and that. I just wanted to say, I think the problem starts when people start to cherry pick and say, even though the Bible, I don't literally take it as the word of God, but I believe it's from God. I believe the old God story. I believe that Jesus Christ is from God. He came, he did this, he did that, but you can't really prove it. But you've decided to make up this story for yourself and present it to the world to be accepted. If you want us to accept that, you need to be able to prove why you think Jesus came and is real, because it's not making sense to me. I'm sorry. You don't believe the Adam and Eve story, but you believe Jesus. You once said, just when the conversation started, that there's a school of thought that Jesus wasn't conceived by the Holy Spirit, it was Joseph. And how could you now prove that he was the Son of God? So there's a lot of inconsistencies that I would like you to clear out, because you can't say, I accept this one and I do not accept that one. It's really confusing, and that's why I came to challenge that. I think you're cherry picking. I think you found out inconsistencies in the Bible, but not willing to let go of Christianity. So you've made up this story for yourself to make it make sense. But it's not making sense to the world, not to me, and not to everyone that's on the panel here. And that's why I came to challenge, quite frankly. And I'm just going to step down now.
Thank you, Annie Brown. I've missed you. Long time no see.
Laugh, right? I'm just going to be listening and allow someone else to come.
Okay.
Yeah?
Thank
Thank you for letting me on.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Did Fred want to say something about that? Fred, for those people that weren't here, we were talking about Mary and who impregnated Mary and all these things. And Fred says some Christians believe that there was no spirit impregnating Mary, that she was in fact impregnated by Joseph. So, yeah, some Christians believe that apparently.
If Fred's not going to respond, the question I have is this: if you don't believe in the Adam and Eve story, what's the point? If there is no original sin, then we have no sin. And without any of that stuff, everything that follow on makes no sense and is invalidated. So if you're going to be in this religion, you cannot dismiss the story of Adam and Eve. It just can't be dismissed, because that's how we got here. If you can't say why God decided to place sin on this earth, because this is what he did, and measure us by this term called sin, then tell me, why would any of the other parts exist, and what's the use of any of those? What's the utility of any of it? What's the utility of Jesus Christ if you do not have sin? Want to answer that? Can you? He's busy or something. He must be. He's
Hurt his feelings. I'm sorry.
It just doesn't follow. If I bring out a mop to wipe up the floor because there's water spilled and there's no water on the floor, why the hell did I bring out the mop?
I mean, it's kind of, from listening to him, there's very much a cherry picking of what he considers real and what he considers not real. And it's easier to say something that looks obviously not real, Genesis, because scientific evidence, stuff like that. He'll say, yeah, that's just what they saw at the time, and that's what they think they mean and all that. But when it comes to something else that's just as miraculous and unreasonable, Jesus rising from the dead, he has no problem with that. I don't think he applies his methodology across the board. I think he picks when he applies it.
And atheist, to your point, why would the entire action of Jesus be necessary? If there is no sin, if there's no original sin, if you can't identify when God said sin came, and so then what is the purpose of Jesus? And that's the question that they never answer.
Can I just ask, if you are a Christian or a Muslim, you believe that your God existed or exists or whatever, I don't know. Yeah, please do come up and let's have a conversation. We've got, a very robust panel of people that are ready to take on the God claims. We do have on the panel a Muslim, Sheikh Rogers. Sheikh Rogers.
Hello.
Sheikh Rogers.
Hello, guys.
You still believe that Allah
I'm here.
exists?
Till eternity, of course, yes.
What makes you confident that Allah?
Sorry, you're breaking up.
Sorry. What makes you confident that Allah exists?
Well, for me, it does make logical sense that Allah exists, so that's why I'm confident about it.
And what's the logic?
The logic is simple. So deductive reasoning, right? Or you can say syllogism. I have this, whatever displays the harmonious ordering of many parts is due to an intelligent cause. The universe displays harmonious ordering of many parts. Therefore, the universe is due to an intelligent cause.
Just one second. Fred, are you still there? Fred, are you still there? There's somebody who is very pressed. Who I definitely want to speak to him. Prophetic something.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna be nice.
There
you go, Fred. I sent you a rose.
Sorry, guys. I was just making it. Why I say I'm making sense to read. Can I drop and come back up if that's okay? I'm just going to make a coffee.
Okay. All right then.
Thank you. I'll be back.
Make sure you come back, Fred.
No, I will do. I'm just going to have a bite to eat because I'm hungry. Sorry.
All right.
I'll come back. Thank you.
Okay.
I thought he was giving us the silent treatment. Hi, Afro.
Hey,
Hi,
Madam.
Vessel.
What's that?
Hi, Atheist Cat. Hi, Richie. Hello, everyone. I've missed you guys.
What is prophetic?
It's good to see you. Sheik, you were talking about your syllogism and your logic, but you didn't spell it out. Could you sort of spell it out for us?
Okay, premise 1. Whatever display the harmonious ordering of many parts is due to an intelligent cause. Premise 2. The universe displays the harmonious ordering of many parts.
Are you saying fine tune?
Therefore, the universe is due to an intelligent cause.
You said 12. I'm not sure. I'm just asking. What do you mean by harmonious?
Harmonious ordering, basically different parts coming together to give rise to functionality or rise to consistency.
So this is really just a fine-tuning argument.
It's not a fine-tuning argument.
He says,
Are you proving God or are you proving Allah?
Well, we can work from there. I'm just naming premises.
You are making a premises of a philosophical God, a Christian can make
that
that.
can-
We want you to prove Allah.
So
No,
this is
it
this is
doesn't
how we
work.
work through it, right? If we can establish that an intelligent being exists, we can then walk our way through the possibility of each of the
No,
Well,
it doesn't
I
work
can
like
help
that.
you be.
It doesn't work
Beings
like
is-
that.
Yeah,
It
see,
doesn't
Chef,
work like
I-
that. Sorry.
Yeah, this happens
Okay, if
every
you say
time.
so,
And we've heard
but I
it
don't
multiple,
agree with
multiple
you.
times. Can you please just argue for your God?
Well, do you accept the premise first? That's the first thing.
Argue about your God. Your premise doesn't work
Wait.
because a Christian God can make
if you
that
can
premise.
agree, if you can agree on an intelligent
Jezebel, I
cause,
can
then we
actually
can walk
do
from
this.
there.
Wait a minute, Sheikh,
Oh,
I do
God.
agree. The divine gummy bear is the intelligent being that created everything in the universe.
Well, the
you
divine gummy
believe
bear,
me?
we can
No, I'm being serious.
we
do
can
you believe
then
me?
we can define who the divine. Well, I do not agree.
Okay, why do you not agree that my divine gummy bear is the intelligent being that created the universe?
Because it's obvious. It's obviously tautology or no.
How is
not
it
tautology,
obviously?
It's gibberish.
Wait a minute. I say the same about your God concept. Why is it obvious?
Obviously, the divine gummy bear. By definition, we know what a gummy bear is, right?
Well,
We
no,
know
we
a gummy
by
bear is
definition we
something.
know what your God is. So what?
By definition, what is my God?
Your God is the title for the creator of everything.
So what is that
Right.
title?
Allah.
And what is Allah?
What did I just say? Did I?
No. What is
suddenly
the
lose the
meaning of
moment
what
of
is the
time?
literal translation of Allah?
God.
God.
No, it is the
What is it
God.
then?
It's not just God. It's the God.
Oh, the God. Well, guess what? The divine gummy bear has a title of its own, and
Can I just say, as someone who fully speaks Arabic, what you just did, you completely semantics. Allah could just mean Al-Ilah, which means Ar-Rab, which means God. It could mean the God or God, depending on what you meant when you said God.
Illah is listen. Illah is God.
Al-Ilah.
Illah could be any deity.
Ilah
Illah
is
is
God.
any deity. It could be no Ilah. Yes, Ilah definitely. Ilah
so
could
I'm
be
still
any
trying
God.
to
It
find
could be
out.
any
Other
deity
than
that
you
you worship.
naming your God the God, how did you show it's the God compared to the divine gummy bear based on your logic?
So
You
what are
want
the
to
properties of a
establish
divine gummy bear?
you wanted to establish an intelligent being as the one that created the universe. I'm agreeing it's the divine gummy bear. Where do we go from here?
So your argument is absurd, or your
No,
divine or
wait a
proposed
minute. Why
divine
is
being
it
is
absurd?
absurd.
Why do you just get to
I'm
dismiss that as
Hold on,
absurd
let me
because
show
you
you.
don't like
Hold
the
on, let me
title?
show you how it is. Hold on, let me show you how it is absurd, right? So
Yeah.
gummy bear, it has
Divine
properties
gummy bear. You
that
got to
are
be
absolute, right?
specific, please.
Whether it is divine, you can be
Would you
divine and not
specific
be
divine
eternal.
gummy bear?
The Quran is divine, but it's not eternal.
Hold
we have
on
the things
a
that are divine, they're
minute
not
there.
eternal.
You just made like Muslims would come for your neck after what you just said. Is the Quran not kalimatullah?
I'm saying
It
the
is
Quran.
eternal. Wait. Kalimatullah is eternal. It is eternal.
The Mus'haf.
No, see, here's the thing. The Mus'haf isn't. The Quran is eternal. It is eternal.
Bro,
Don't
I'm
say
talking
it's
about
not.
the Mus'haf. The Mus'haf is not
You didn't
eternal.
say. Atheist cats, please. Did he say Mus'haf or did he say Quran?
When I say Quran, I hope you know that I'm talking about the physical
Quran.
copy.
He said Quran. I heard it. He said
You
Quran.
did say
Yes,
Quran.
of course, I said Quran.
You said
As
Quran
the
is
book.
divine but not eternal.
Yes, it is. It is divine,
but not
right?
eternal.
It is
It's not
eternal.
eternal.
The Quran is eternal. The word of God, like God, because it is an aspect of God, is eternal. If you say anything but that, then at that point you're attacking the eternality of God Himself.
Okay. So
It is how you're getting schooled on the identity of your God that is even
no, I'm not getting
interesting now.
schooled.
Afro, would you please
You are. You are.
this button? Did you say ends? I don't see.
Yeah,
So do
into
you,
the box.
atheist cards, do you know the funniest thing?
So
Everybody's
I have
God
my
is
source
an
here.
intelligent. Hold on.
You said
Atheist cards. I'm talking to atheist
who's the
cards.
speaking?
Everybody's God is an intelligent being. Isn't
Yes.
that funny? Yeah.
I'm surprised there's not a single dumb god out there.
There is.
Like this dumb god didn't
so-
accidentally knock over his chemistry
Blind
set
beast.
and create the universe.
There is a dumb god.
Okay. And which one? Which one?
So
The
the
one that doesn't
flying
know where
bee,
sperm comes from.
flying bee made a claim that the Quran is eternal, right? Flying bee made a claim that the Quran is eternal, right? Of Allah,
Uh-huh.
may He be exalted. Its words, letters, and meanings. It originated from Him and will return to Him. It was uttered by Allah, may He be exalted, and heard from Him by Jibreel, peace be upon him, who brought it down to Muhammad, blessings and peace of Allah be upon him. Okay, so
The ruling is by the Sunnah. It's uncreated. If you
Did you
say
just
it's
say I
created-
made a claim?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you
If
s-
the
Yes.
Quran is created, if the Quran is created, tell me when Allah said it. Give me the date.
So it says, as Allah uttered the
I'm
Quran by
asking you,
His will,
Sheikh, I'm asking you a question.
the Quran
When did
is His
Allah-
word.
When did Allah?
Hold on, bro,
the Quran.
hold on, let me
Give
finish.
me a date.
I will answer you, hold on. As Allah uttered the Quran by His will, the Quran is His word, and it was revealed from Him and not created. Yet, despite that, it is not eternal as Allah is eternal, even though Allah has the attributes of speech and speaks whenever He wills. So the attribute of speech is eternal and part of His essence. You see, the attribute of speech is eternal, but the Quran itself is not eternal. So you couldn't say the Quran is eternal.
If something is uncreated, it doesn't have a beginning. Are you saying
So
that the
words
Quran
are
is an
not
end?
something you can create. You don't create when you listen, Akhi, or
The
brother.
Quran is an end. What is the
When you
definition
speak
of it?
words, they don't
What is-
become physical existence, right?
That is
Words
not
are
what
not
the
something
Quran
that physically exists.
is. That is not what the Quran
You
is.
don't find
What does
well.
eternal mean? Could you define
What?
eternal? Could you define eternal?
Eternal means something that has a
Fine, begin to exist.
Mhm.
What does begin to exist mean?
begin to exist. Means there was a point in time it didn't exist.
And how does something go from not existing to existing?
Inception.
It is
Beginning of
created.
it.
Would you say it is not? Would you say it wouldn't? It would be created to go from something that
So
doesn't
before
exist
you
to something
spoke,
that exists.
so hold on.
Before you
Hold on.
continue, I've got the definition. I've got the definition of eternal over there. So it's eternal means lasting or existing forever without end. So if the Quran is not eternal, so that means that the Quran it's not lasting, it's not existing forever.
So
And
here is a
Quran
confusion.
is without it's with end.
You have a confusion, right?
What's the confusion?
So we are not saying the Quran has an ending. We are saying the Quran had a beginning, right? Something can begin
That
and
is
be
the problem.
eternal.
No, that is the
It
problem.
just cannot end.
How does something begin to exist without
No.
being created? How does something begin to exist without being created?
So you're confusing eternity with something that
Again,
never began to
again,
exist.
How does something
Just
begin
because
to
something
exist?
exists in
Yeah, Sheikh
eternity
Rogers,
doesn't mean
listen
it
to
will
the
Rogers,
words
begin
I'm
to
saying.
exist.
you realize,
Listen
Rogers,
to
you
the words I'm
realize
saying.
you're saying you're confusing eternality with, and then you proceed to define something that is eternal. This is what you're doing
No.
right now.
So listen.
Sheikh Rogers.
One
Again,
Listen.
give
One
me
second.
a word.
Eternity is
One
something
second.
existing in.
Police,
Oh my God, this
wait,
guy.
hold on 1 second. Holistically blissful. Can you please stop spamming with that bullshit in the chat? talking about the Bible is too profound. No one cares. He talked about atheists by saying only a fool says there is no God. I mean, a bigger fool says there is a God that they cannot see, that they cannot touch, they can't hear, they can't feel. They don't know where the God lives. They have no idea, right? So if your book insults atheists, guess what? The joke is on you, right? Because you don't even have any idea at all about the God. So please stop spamming the chat.
Afro, do you know the funny part about that verse? A fool says there is no God. Why will a fool make that statement? Is your God not all true? Is your God not all challenging? If the book itself says a fool says in his heart there is no God, it means the book has recognized there are people who are saying it is not true. That's just what it means.
And also, the heart does not speak. A fool says in his heart. How do you say in your heart? That's bullshit.
Okay.
Yes.
So again, let's go again to the point.
Answer the question I posed. How does something begin to exist without being created?
Okay, Allah's speech is not created, but when it is spoken, listen.
How does
Not
something begin
everything
to
that
exist?
begins to.
Could you
Oh
answer the
my
question?
God.
How does something begin to exist without being created in a world where everything originates from God?
Okay, the Quran is the speech of Allah, right? There was a point when the Quran had not been revealed. Would you say it was created or it was existing by then?
It existed before being revealed. Me writing a book and me publishing a book are not the same thing.
The Quran is part of Allah's speech. It was not spoken only until it was revealed.
Oh, it was spoken when it was revealed.
Right?
So Allah said, in 600 AD,
It
Allah
was
literally
not,
spoke.
the Quran wasn't
So Allah is
spoken
defined by time.
until it was revealed.
So Allah is defined
Is that not so?
by time. No, because the Quran
You're
exists before
confusing
Muhammad.
Allah's.
The Quran
You're
exists before
confusing.
Muhammad.
You're confusing
The Quran
Allah's
existed
ability
before
to have.
Again,
You
the
are
Quran existed
confusing
before Muhammad.
Allah's ability to have eternal speech
Sheikh
with the
Rogers,
Quran to have existed
could you
in
listen and
eternity.
actually
They are not
comprehend
the
what I'm
same
saying?
thing.
Could you listen and comprehend what I'm saying? The Quran existed before Muhammad. If you say the Quran was only spoken at the life of Muhammad, then you would have to limit your God by time, because you're going to say that God spoke within time, within the concept of time. But God spoke the Quran outside
When
of
it
time.
came to the Quran, God spoke within the concept of time for the Quran.
Again,
The Quran was
being
a
revealed,
continuous
being revealed.
revelation over the period of 23 years.
Being revealed doesn't mean it was spoken when it was revealed. If I had
God speaking.
Sheikh Rogers.
Oh my
You
God,
said
this is so
something.
dumb.
You said something a second ago. You said God has the ability to do it. Like when you realize that there's no way for it to be not eternal, but at the same time not created, you just said God's ability to do so. Like God has the ability
I didn't
to just
say
do
that. I didn't say that. Nope, I didn't say that.
Then what did you say?
You're hearing
Because you're
things now
still
in your head.
trying. Then enlighten me.
What did you say?
I said he's confusing. I said what I said is he's confusing Allah's ability of eternal speech with the Quran as something that has existed in eternity. Which
Your words. It is part of God's speech. Your words, not his. Those were your words.
And
the eternal speech of God. It is part of God's eternal speech.
Allah had
by the way,
Allah had already spoken a lot of things before the revelation of the Quran.
What he's saying,
the Quran was revealed within time.
Just a second. What he's saying means that God spoke within time. So God occupied time to speak. You'd have to, what you're saying
this is crazy.
Time. It is crazy that you're not.
Do you understand that time is an emergent property of existence?
It is crazy that you're not understanding.
Listen.
What is crazy is that you were saying that God spoke within time.
Time is an emergent property of existence. It is not something that exists out there on its own. When something exists, then time emerges.
Does God occupy time?
God doesn't. Time is not something that is created. It is an emergent property of existence.
It is imagined. So time is imagined.
Do you understand what emergence is?
So time doesn't exist.
So it doesn't exist until something else exists.
So time doesn't exist until something else exists. So does God
Yes,
exist
time
within
doesn't
time?
exist until
Does
space
God exist within
exists.
time? Does
Time
God
doesn't
exist within
exist
time?
until
Again,
something
does
has to
God
exist for time
within
to exist.
Does God exist within time?
God doesn't exist within time.
Then
Time is
why
an
then
imagined
how?
property of God's existence.
Again,
Then why are you
we have
attributing
proof.
it to the Quran then? Like
We
then,
have
then
proofs.
why are you
Yeah.
trying to fit it
This is
within a
great. How do you
timeline?
not know that time is just an imagined property?
No,
Because it's
why
not.
are you trying to
We know
fit it
it's
in a
physical.
timeline?
We know time is physical. That is one. Number two, you were saying God spoke the
Where,
Quran in 600 AD.
where is time physical?
Time is physical.
Time is not
The
physical.
fact that
Because
that
if it is
time,
physical,
again,
then
the
there could be
fact-
one definitive way.
Now,
Time is
again,
not
we
physical.
see that is the entire point of relativity. Time bends are based on mass and speed. We know that time changes based on those two properties.
Light and
But it's
speed.
not defined. It's a
Light
zat.
and speed
I said
time
mass and
emerges
speed.
because of light and speed.
I said time and I
That
said
is,
mass. I
bro,
said
that
mass and
is
speed.
that is literally what I'm saying.
That is
Time is an
again.
imagined property of those things.
غبي والله.
Time is an imagined property of existence. If something
Can we
doesn't
can we
exist,
go
you don't
back?
have a
Can we
concept
go
of
back
time.
to the gummy bear?
What is wrong with you people? Why is it that when you are asked to prove your God, you people just go straight to philosophy and start
They
talking
do not
about
even
time
understand philosophy.
and talk about Doctor Strange stuff like Marvel movie? Like, defend your God, please. Leave this philosophical thing. Everybody can make this claim. A Christian can make this thing. Every other person's God fits into this philosophical narrative, so it's not even a claim. Can you
He's
guys
he's
stop,
Philosophy
please?
is how you think, is how you reason. You understand the need for
You're-
philosophy, right?
the-
Ask
with
the
the
question
need-
why.
I understand the need of philosophy, but the thing is, everybody's God fits into this narrative.
You
of a
don't believe in the
philosophical
Quran.
claim.
How will I come and start talking to you about the Quran?
Explain it.
I have
It
to
doesn't.
bring it to.
I
have
don't
to
need
bring
to
it to a
believe
point
in
of
it to
logic
know.
before I
I
take
don't
it to.
need to listen. I don't need to believe in it to know. You already know it. So explain what you know to us.
I don't believe in what I know, so I have to bring it to a
Can we
common.
go back
Hmm.
to
Where
the
the three of
gummy
us can
bear?
agree.
Can we please go back to the gummy bear? I know.
Right, because
that-
the whole purpose of the
The
gummy,
gummy bear is an absurd. The gummy bear is an absurd
Robert,
example.
why is it absurd? Give me a reason why my God concept is absurd and yours isn't.
Because the concept of gummy bear itself is definitive, right? We know what a gummy bear is.
Well,
We know
I
that
mean,
it is
it's just a
delicacy, it is a
placeholder
candy.
for us to understand the immensity of this being.
Gummy bear doesn't listen. Gummy bear
Would you prefer
doesn't.
gummy snake?
Gummy bear doesn't pre-exist humanity.
Sure it does.
We
Wait a minute.
created
How do you know
gummy
that?
bear
Wait a minute. Hold on,
because
Rogers.
we literally made gummy bears from factory.
No,
No,
the
So whatever
divine
you're
gummy
Rogers,
bear.
wait a minute. Hold on,
No,
Rogers.
the divine
the
gummy
gummy bears
bear.
that you see
The
in
divine gummy
factories.
bear is different. Oh, this is a divine gummy bear, not.
You
Yeah,
can literally
that's
call
not the
whatever
gummy bear
you
you're
divine.
thinking of.
You can literally call whatever you want to hold as sacred divine. It doesn't mean it has always existed.
Oh,
Don't
no.
mix the two up.
Wait a minute. But you say yours did. Why is yours different?
Yes, but I don't have to call God divine. There are other things I can
fine.
call God.
So God is
Sure.
not divine.
Eternal? Sure.
I don't have
the
to
gummy
call
bear
him
is also
divine.
eternal.
No, I'm asking, is your God divine?
I'm not saying he's not divine. I'm saying I don't
Okay.
have to call him divine.
Is he divine?
I don't have to call mine divine either. It's a part of the title.
It doesn't matter whether he's divine or not. I don't have to call him divine.
Sure. I'm not calling my
What-
gummy
what-
bear divine either. It's just the eternal gummy bear. So
Well,
once
Why do you
again,
keep
how did
calling
the
your
gummy bear
God
come to
he?
exist in eternity when the concept of gummy bear was born in factories?
Rogers,
Rogers,
So
wait a minute, hold on.
it is Rogers.
This is what we call.
Pretend it is.
This is the classic. This is a
Wait a
classic
minute,
story.
Rogers, I got an answer for him, fine. Hold on. Rogers, you should read some of the ancient Sumerian texts. We have some evidence of the ancient gummy bear existing in ancient Sumerian text.
Well, if that is what you want to call your God, then it's fine. I don't have a problem with that. You can call your God the gummy bear. You can call him the flying spaghetti a monster.
How
You
is
can
it
call
different
him
than your
whatever you
God?
want to call
Wait a
him.
minute. How is yours
But-
different?
But I can tell you from where I stand that my God,
Hmm.
it is consistent
Mm-hmm.
with what I
Is
observe.
he?
As the Quran
Really?
says, ليس كمثله شيء وهو سميع بصير. There is
I
nothing
can
like
show my
unto
God
him.
is better than your God. You want to play whose God's better? My God's better than yours.
I was waiting for you to start quoting the Quran. Like I'm just here
Yeah.
waiting for that.
So I would like to know this. Wait a minute.
Oh, I want you to
The
attack me
divine
quoting
gummy
the
bear.
Quran.
Hold on, Rogers. Let's compare scriptures. The divine gummy bear has ruled that no one should own anyone, especially women, as sexual slaves.
Oh, that's good for
Please
the
show me
divine
in the
gummy bear.
Quran where yours doesn't. Does yours agree?
That's good for the gummy bear.
No, Rogers.
Does your own God agree?
Where does it agree?
You're asking a
Does
question.
your God agree that you shouldn't own women as sexual slaves?
If my God agrees that you shouldn't own women,
Yes, as sexual slaves. My God says that's a no-no. What does your God say?
so yes, you shouldn't own women as sexual slave in Islam as well, of
Wait,
course.
أعوذ بالله
Are
من
you
الشيطان
sure
الرجيم.
that Allah says that?
والذين هم لفروجهم حافظون إلا على أزواجهم أو ما ملكت أيمانهم فهم غير ملومين
أيمانهم.
أو ما ملكت
Hold
أيمانهم
on.
فهم غير ملومين.
Hold on. Let me bring you the verse.
Let me guess. It's probably going to be أيمانهم when it's both talking about right hand possession. Is that what you're going to do right now?
Hold on. So, brother, hold on. You're in a rush. Don't be in a rush.
Let's tap on the screen. We're so close to 40K minutes.
A translation of what I just said would be, and those who protect their chastity, except from their wives and those whom their right hand possesses, for they are not to blame. Basically saying they are not to blame if they have sexual intercourse with either of these two. So I would like Sheikh Rogers to explain to me what is right hand possession.
So let me read for you from Surah Al-Nur, verse 33.
Can anyone put it up on the screen? Can anyone put it up on screen so we can read as well?
I'll get you the verses in a second.
They can find it.
Okay, if anyone can put them up. So
24:33.
we can also
Surah Al-Nur, verse 33.
Give me a second, because I don't think it's Surah An-Nur. 1 second.
I'm talking about the verse that I'm going to read right now. It's 24:33.
I'm not talking about Surah An-Nur. I'm talking about Surah Al-Mu'minun. See, this is what I mean. You've brought a completely different verse to the one that I'm bringing up and you're reading it. Then why are you telling them a different verse?
No.
Why are you telling them a different verse?
Calm down. I'm addressing Atheist Cat's question. You just calm down.
So Atheist Cat's question about the sexual slavery. Go ahead.
Hold on. And let those who do not have the means to marry keep themselves chaste until Allah enriches them out of his bounty.
What verse is this?
And if any of those bonds people,
sorry,
this
please,
is Surah 24, verse 33.
Just to be clear, Afro. Just to be clear, Afro. Wait, just to be clear, Afro. Sheikh Rogers is specifically ignoring the verses that I'm bringing up that specifically talk about you.
I'm not ignoring your verses.
Hold on.
We're
Please, he's trying to say something to
verse,
me.
bro.
He's trying to say something to me, please. Go on,
We'll address your verse.
Blindly.
Yeah, so the verses that I brought up as soon as the sexual slavery was brought up was verses from a surah called Surah Al-Mu'minun. He's reading verses from Surah Al-Nur, completely different surah. I just wanted to make that very clear. So when he's done, he would still have to address the verses.
And also,
I don't have an issue with that. I know the Quran, the verses of the Quran.
You know the verse the verse that is actually bringing up. Why did you bring up that verse?
To address Atheist Cat's question.
What was Atheist Cat's question?
Okay, so he said, if my God allows for...
Wait a minute.
Please hold on. What was your question?
I'm answering since she wants to know. What I said was the divine gummy bear states that it's improper to ever own another human being, especially women, as sexual slaves.
Okay.
Now I've asked, does Allah say the same?
Okay. Let me read the verse that he just pulled out, okay? It says, indeed, those who falsely accuse chaste unaware and believing women are cursed in this world and the hereafter.
You are reading the wrong verse. No, that is not the verse. That is not the verse. I
What
said
verse?
24:33. What are you reading?
24:33. Okay,
24
24
verse 33.
I was reading 24.
24.
Hold on. I was reading
24.
24:23. Okay. And 33. Okay. But let them who find not the means for marriage abstain from sexual relations until Allah enriches them from his bounty. And those who seek a contract for eventual emancipation, from among whom your right hand possess, right? And those who seek a contract for the eventual emancipation from among whom your right hand possess, then make a contract with them if you know there is within them goodness, and give them from the. And do not compel your slave girls to prostitution, if they desire chastity, to seek thereby the temporary interest of worldly life. And if someone should compel them, then indeed Allah is to them, after their compulsion, forgiving and merciful. So who is this verse talking to?
Yes, this is to address atheist cat question. One,
Who is the verse talking to?
there's a difference. What do you mean who is the verse talking to?
Yeah, who is this referring to? But let them who find not. Are these believers
Is
or non-believers?
everybody in general,
So, but let them who
especially the
find
believers.
not. No, it can't be especially. This is only talking to believers. But let them who find not the means
Yes,
of marriage
especially the believers.
abstain from sexual relations until Allah enriches them with his bounty. And those who seek, right? So those people who want to basically have snacks, yeah? Allah is saying that they should abstain until Allah gives them money, yeah? And for those who seek a contract for the eventual emancipation from among whom your right hand possess, please, who are the right hand possess?
Right hand possessions are basically, let's say, people of the spoils of war, like when you conquer an enemy on the battlefield, those you capture, those are your right hand possessions. Those any other thing is your right hand possession. It's not basically saying, there's this concept of
So a man can
the
be
word
right
for
hand.
slave
So
is
a man,
actually
a man
up.
can be
Those
the
are
right hand
sex
possession.
slaves.
A man can
Sex
be
slaves.
can
Yes,
a
a man can be a right hand possession.
Okay, this verse
That's a
says,
lie.
and those who you seek
Of course,
a
a man can be a right
contract.
hand
Hold on,
possession.
please.
A right hand
And
possession
those
to who?
hold on. And those who seek a contract for eventual emancipation from among whom your right hand possess, then make a contract with them. If you know. So here it is talking about those men who want to go ahead and FUCK, right? If they want to FUCK,
No.
excuse me. Let me start from the verse. Stop.
You
Please.
don't. No.
Stop. Mm-mm.
They're in black
Listen.
and white, but you're arguing still.
The
I don't
verse.
get it.
You know what? Let me pull it up. So
When
you
you're
see
done, I
where-
will explain it properly
No,
to
hold
you.
on. You have to hold on. 23, 24.
In prostitution here was specifically referring to the girls. The word mulkul yamin could mean both. However, in this specific context, it specifically means the girls.
But can a male who is a right hand possession be used as a sex slave?
It would be breaking another law. He cannot be used as a sex slave. No.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So you said to read the one before. It says, and marry the unmarried among you and the righteous among your male slaves and female slaves. If they should be poor, Allah will enrich them from his bounty, and Allah is all encompassing and knowing. Okay, so now this is the verse that he told us to read, right? The start of the verse says, but let them who find not the means for marriage abstain from sexual relations until Allah enriches them from his bounty, right? So we're talking about people who want to do sex, right? And those who seek a contract for the eventual emancipation from among whom your right hand possess, right? So we're talking about men who want to have sex, but they have a right hand possess that they want to make a contract with, right? So, Sheikh Rogers, are you saying that some of these can be men that they want to make a contract with, the right hand possess?
So you're absolutely wrong. absolutely wrong. So the verse is
Can
talking
you
about
please answer my
emancipation, freedom.
question? Freedom from what?
So freedom
Sheikh
from
Rogers,
being
Rogers,
owned.
Was that atheist cat's question? Why were you
That is
dodging
literally
the
what
question?
emancipation is.
That is not atheist cat's question. Atheist cat's question was about sex slavery in
I'm not
particular.
concerned about
Are
the
you
first part
allowed?
of the.
So you're
I'm
not
not
concerned with
concerned
his question, are you?
about the.
But this
No,
verse actually,
listen.
this verse
Bro,
actually proves
how many of the
slavery.
people are speaking?
Can you? This is my platform. I can speak. This verse actually proves sex slavery. Allah is saying, if you, can you please let me finish?
Can
you let me finish?
I want to show you how you're wrong about the verse.
So Allah is saying in this verse, right, for those people who don't have money to do the proper marriage or to do it the proper way, right? But they have slaves. Among them, they can now make a contract, right, for their final emancipation of this slave. But they can then go ahead and do this smex with that slave.
Absolutely wrong. This is not even what the verse is saying. You're not even close to what the verse is saying. So the verse is saying one, right? It says, let those who find not the means for marriage. That means if you don't have the ability to pay the dowry for the bride and everything, if you can't afford getting married, you have to abstain from any sexual relations until Allah gives you the means for you to be able to pay for dowry, right? That is the first part. And those who seek a contract for eventual emancipation, it is talking about the rights and possessions. Those from amongst them who want to be free, who want to basically go their own way, right? Those who want, that is what emancipation is, to be freed from among whom your right hand possesses. Then make a contract with them. It means have a contract drawn with them on how they are going to be freed.
In exchange,
that is the point.
What? In exchange for what? What are you? So you're drawing up a contract. When you draw up a contract with somebody, there's agreements in that contract. So what is the slave agreeing to?
He can say, "Oh, I can work for you for so and so time.
They're already working
and pay
for
you. Pay you this amount for my freedom."
They're already working.
Hold on, no.
The slave is already
They're
working.
not already
for
working
you.
for you.
The
Hold
slave
on.
is already working for you.
Oh my God.
The slave is already working.
Can you just listen?
You already own the slave. You already own that slave. So the slave already is yours. Your slave cannot be writing a contract that they want to work for you. Stop lying. This is sex slavery.
You clearly cannot even wait for me to give you proper understanding of what the verse is saying, right?
Guys in the comments.
Understanding, you mean proper indoctrination, sir.
Guys in the
I want to give you a proper indoctrination.
Guys in the comments, as you're reading it, does this, when you're reading this, does this tell you anything? I mean, from what you're reading, can you see where it implies sex slavery? Yes or no? Because we talk about the verse starts talking about marriage, right? And you all know in Islam you cannot have sex until you're married, right? And then immediately we start talking about these other girls you want to draw up a contract with, right? They are your right hand possessed. And then immediately after it says, don't send your slaves into prostitution. So it's all about smacks in this verse.
Okay, so instead of me continuing to argue with you from my own understanding, let me give you the tafsir. The tafsir says,
According to
Ibn Kathir,
who?
Ibn Kathir, and such of your servants as seek a writing of emancipation, give them such writing if you find that there is good and honesty in them. This is a command from Allah to slave owners. If their servants ask them for a contract of emancipation, they should write it for them, provided that the servant has some skill and means of earning so that he can pay his master the money that is stipulated in the contract. Al-Bukhari said, Raw narrated from Ibn Jurayj, I said to Atta, if I know that my servant has money, is it obligatory for me to write him a contract of emancipation? He said, I do not think it can be anything but obligatory. Amir bin Dinar said, I said to Atta, are you narrating this from anybody? He said, no. Then he told me that Musa bin Anas told him that Syrian, who had a lot of money, asked Anas for a contract of emancipation, and he refused. So he went to Umar bin Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, and he said, write it for him.
Flying B, yes, you can say something.
There's just two things that I want to say. The first thing is, while he's reading up that verse, just to quickly, because he still hasn't answered Atheist Cat's question. Afro, would you be so kind as to pull up 23:5 and 6? It says,
What I'm hearing
if you
is
see
an
good in them.
obligation. Wait a minute. What I keep hearing is a story about how you're supposed to free them. That's not what I asked. I asked, can you have them? Can you have a concubine?
Have you looked at the end of the verse? It says,
can you have a concubine? Yes or no?
you can have a concubine, but you cannot force them.
Great. Your God says
They cannot be
you
forced.
can own a female for smacks. My God, the Divine Gummy Bear, says otherwise.
If she wants to.
Rogers, where does it say that the slave girl has to consent? It says don't force them into prostitution, not into intercourse. Are you going to tell me that prostitute and wait. Are you going to tell me that bigha and jima' are the same thing? Are you trying to say that prostitution and intercourse are the same thing?
Let me come to the tafsir. I'm not going to answer you from my knowledge. Let me come to the tafsir.
I've pulled out the verse.
So, yeah, please be so kind as to read them. They're very short, very sweet.
Those who guard their chastity, except with their wives or those bond women in their possession, for then they are free from blame.
So, Atheist Cats, to simply answer your question, you are allowed to have intercourse with the quote-unquote bondswomen in your possession.
Great. The Divine Gummy Bear says that's a no-no. So which God is better in this case?
Divine Gummy Bear, of course.
I would agree. Divine Gummy Bear. Here's another one.
Gummy Bear is better.
My God gives an actual, accurate description of a fetus forming in the womb. Does your God give an accurate description?
That's my honey bun. That's my favorite verse.
Does yours?
So listen again. Let me read for you the tafsir. It says what? But if anyone compels them after such compulsion, Allah.
That wasn't what I asked of you.
Guys, just let him read that particular verse, please. I know it's frustrating, but let him read it, please.
Why can't you people? You people don't like listening to opposing views or something?
No, you just heard me say they should let you read. So I do like opposing.
I'm not talking about you. You're fairly really. I can say you. Well, I can say you're fairly fair. So yeah.
Well, if the view is if we're looking at a scripture within a religion, and you say,
I heard.
If you say
everything about us. Everything about Islam is scripture.
No. But if someone's reading a scripture, and you're saying it's not saying what it is saying explicitly in front of us, then we're gonna argue with you.
Then I'm giving you the rulings. I'm giving you the tafsir. That is what I'm not giving you from my knowledge.
And that's what flying is doing too.
But if anyone compels them, then after such compulsion, Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful. And Nasai also recorded something similar. Muqatil bin Hayyan said,
I said there's part of Tafsir ibn Kathir that you
my
skipped
God,
over.
bro.
There's part of the Tafsir that you skipped over that clearly says
because
that it
the
is not
tafsir is very
obligatory.
long. These are very different.
I know, and that's why I'm saying you've skipped over the specific part that says that I have never heard it to be
I can
obligatory.
read for you all the parts, boy. There is no time for. There is no time.
No,
to read
I'm
all
just
of it.
saying
Do you know how long
just
the tafsir
managed.
is?
Rogers, I'm just saying you successfully managed to skip over the one paragraph that proves my point and says that it's not obligatory. That's just the funny thing to me, is that you chose to read all above it and all below it.
Sheik, let him finish his statement, then you answer, and stop sighing. Being rude as hell.
The specific one that's also from
Oh,
narrated
I
by
have
Anas
to be
ibn
the
Malik.
one who lets him finish his statement while he.
No.
Guys, please, we should let Sheikh speak as well, please, folks. I beg you.
I promise I shall mute
I
after
have
this.
to be the one.
I promise I'm going to mute after this, but I just want that to be stated. You have skipped over the paragraph that says that I am right.
Bro,
I'm going to mute.
Flying B, you are being very disingenuous and very arrogant.
How is it being disingenuous?
You are cutting me in the middle of my speech.
Go on and make your speech, no? Go on.
Afro, I have a question, Afro.
Let me continue.
I have a question, Afro.
Oh my
for
God.
you.
Okay, go on.
If there are 4 paragraphs in a paper, and I read paragraph 1, and then I read paragraph 3, and I'm in the middle of reading paragraph 4, is it wrong for me to assume that this person has skipped paragraph 2?
Yes. No, it's not wrong.
Bro,
It's not wrong.
I don't know what section you think I have jumped for you.
Would you like me to read
clearly.
it for you?
I'm not.
Give them such
Oh
writing
my God.
if you find
Bro,
that
what is
there is
this?
good and honesty
Can
in
you
them.
mute for a minute? Let me finish.
What you can do for us is, can you please, Flying B, can you, after he's done, right? Please let him speak. After he's done, then we can hear the verse that he has stood.
Sure.
Okay, go on.
Okay. But if anyone compels them, then after such compulsion, Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful. And Nasai also recorded something similar. Muqatil bin Hayyan said, I heard, and Allah knows best, that this ayah was revealed about 2 men who used to force 2 slave girls of theirs into prostitution. One of them was called Musaika, who belonged to the Ansari, and Umayma, the mother of Musaika, belonged to Abdullah bin Ubay. Mu'adda and Arwa were in the same situation. Then Musaika and her mother came to the Prophet and told him about that. Then Allah revealed, and force not your slave girls to prostitution, meaning zina. whatever acts you want to say, whether you call it prostitution, is zina, whatever they will want to do, especially if they desire chastity, if they want to abstain from any form of sexual activity, you should not force them to do it. If they desire chastity, meaning if they desire abstinence,
Okay, go on,
means
please. Go
okay.
on.
In fact, I don't need to explain the very hadith. The
Hey,
very
go on. I
tafsir
want you to
explains
finish.
it.
I want you to
It
finish
says
that.
means if they want means if they want to be chaste, which is the case with majority of slave girls. That's it.
Okay, so what?
And by the
punishment-
way, I did
what
not read
punishment? Hold
above
on, 1
and
second.
then came
Please,
and read and
please,
read below.
1 second. What punishment? The people that sold those girls to sex slavery. What punishment did Allah give them? You just read for us two
Oh,
people
then that is something I'll have to look for.
that were trying to sell these girls into sex slavery, right? They are slave girls, right? So something immoral has been done to these two girls, and now the prophet has been told about it. So what is the punishment for the people who sold those girls into sex slavery? Sorry, into prostitution.
Oh, I'll have to let me try to get that. I don't have it here. I think it's somewhere.
You just
Can look
read
for
it.
it.
You just
Are
read
you
it.
talking about punishment as in
You just read it
punishment
just
from
now.
the as in punishment? No, are you talking about punishment as in punishment from the
Yes. What punishment does Allah
what's
Do
this
we have
called?
types
From
of
the laws,
punishment?
from
what
the
punishment? Yes. What
from
punishment does
the
Allah give to? Hold on, please. What punishment does Allah give to men or women, whoever, who sell or who prostitute their slave girls?
Are you talking about punishment as in the sense of the Islamic legal precedents or just like scriptural?
Whatever. What does Allah do to those people?
Both. We want both. Tell us both,
Did
please.
you not just tell Rich that all Islam is scriptural? Like,
Okay.
did you just not just tell him
So-
that it's all scripture?
What?
So something
The
wrong.
rulings
wanna
come
hear,
from the
please.
yes, the rulings from the Sharia comes from the Quran, but we also have something called I've forgotten the name. Where basically, as human beings, we are allowed to make logical conclusions, and then we apply laws based on those logical conclusions.
They're called fatwas.
No, not fatwas.
So
There is a word for it.
Allah just lets people that have done this evil acts.
No, there is a
to
warning
these
for them in
girls.
the Quran.
Not a warning. What
No,
did
there is a
Allah
warning
do
for
to
them in the
them?
Quran.
Not a warning. I'm not asking about a warning. What did Allah do to them? Did He let them go free?
It says, and we made them a precedent and an example to later generations. We made them a lesson, that is a rebuke for committing sin and forbidden deeds.
We made them what?
We made them
Talking about the people
a
who.
lesson.
What verse is this? What verse is this?
This is the same. I think this is verse 34.
And this is talking about the people that sold those girls, that made those girls prostitutes.
No, it is talking about the punish. Basically, for those, they should take precedent for those who came before them, and how Allah punished them for going against His rulings. That is basically what He's telling them.
No, I'm asking about the ones who sold the girls into prostitution, that sold their slaves.
By then, knowledge
to
hadn't
make-
come to them.
This is
By
the
then, knowledge
you're
hadn't
reading
come to
us.
them. So
You
listen,
just read the
listen.
knowledge to us. Hold on. You just read the knowledge to us where some people were selling their. No, what the fuck? Listen, some people came to the prophet. They said, so and so person is using the slave girls for prostitution. Then a verse came, right? The verse came to address. So, what was the punishment for the two people's names that you mentioned that were selling these girls to for prostitution.
Exactly. This is what I'm explaining to you. By then, the verse had not been revealed. How can you punish them when the revelation hadn't come by then? Right?
It just
There was
came
no
down.
law against it. It came down after the fact.
There is miscommunication. There is miscommunication. Rogers, if someone after this verse does that, what is the punishment for it?
Yes, you're given the punishment of zina. It's literally saying zina. There's a punishment for forcing someone to commit zina.
Where is in
You
what
know
you
that
just
in-
read? Where
In
is
countries
it?
where we have Sharia, prostitution is forbidden.
Rogers,
For someone to commit
did you
that,
not
you're going
just
to be
read?
punished.
Did you just not read the verse? Why are you just preaching? Did you just not read the verse? Can you show me in the verse that you read that
Yes.
says it outlines the punishment?
Is there a
What is the
punishment for zina?
Go
Is there a
ahead.
punishment for zina? Is there a
Not
punishment for
Zina.
zina?
I'm very specific now. I'm very specific. Hey, Phil, I'm specifically asking about the two names. In fact, what was
The
it you were
tafsir-
reading when you were mentioning
The tafsir literally says zina.
Whose tafsir were
Ibn
you reading,
Kathir.
please?
It literally says zina.
And what number were you reading?
There is no number. It's just a long narration or
What
long
was the
explanation
name-
of
What
it.
were the names? Please give me the names of the people that were selling people to prostitution. I want the two names.
I have to really hold on. Let me go again and see. I have to look for it properly. Hold on.
In fact, I want to read it myself.
It's a
because
long one.
How is it? How is
It's
it
very
that
long.
you
So yeah, you can.
you know two people who are selling their slaves into prostitution, right? They brought to the prophet, guys, this is what I am asking here. So we have then identified two people that are doing this evil thing to these girls. They come to the prophet and tell the prophet about what they've done to these girls. Then a verse comes down from Jibril. So how does Allah address? Because don't forget, these girls are victims. These people, these sex slaves, right, that they've used for prostitution, these are victims. So how is Allah addressing? How is Allah going to repay the girls for the evil act that was committed to them? Right? This is the question that I am asking. You brought the verse down. Does
The earnings
verse
become
include
theirs. Whatever money that has been taken is given to them. For example, we have a ruling on when the prophet, hold on, we have a ruling on when the prophet forbade a muta. Oh my
You're
God.
making that up. You're not interested more.
I'm really tired.
You mean, what was it? No, you can be tired if you want. What was it Afasir you read? I need to go read it myself. I need to
Ibn
read it
Kathir.
myself.
Like these things, you should read them before you come and make these claims.
Wait, hold on. Flying Bee, can you help me? How do you spell that? Ibn something.
I would. Here is what I would tell you to do. I would tell you to write the verse and then write Quran X next to it, and then scroll through. If you write the verse and then you just specifically write Quran X next to it, you'll find the tafsirs of not just Ibn Kathir but multiple scholars. Scroll down to the third tafsir. The first two, Al-Jalalain and Ibn Abbas, are very short anyways, and you'll find the entire tafsir of Ibn Kathir of that verse.
Ibn, how do you spell Kathir?
Kathir.
And what number?
What verse are you referring to, Rogers, again?
Surah Al-Nur, verse 33.
Can you give
Surah
the
Nur,
number of
verse
Surah
33.
Nur? Because again, can you give the number
24,
of Surah
24.
Nur? 24:33.
24. 23. Okay, comment 3, 4. Okay, 9. Okay, Abbas. All right. And those who cannot find a match, those who are unable to marry, keep chaste until Allah gives them independence by His grace, until Allah gives them sufficiency from His provision. This was revealed about Hawiyitib Ibn, who refused to agree to give one of his slaves a chance to buy out his freedom, and such of your slaves as seek a writing of emancipation to buy out their freedom, write it for them if ye are aware of aught of good in them. If you know they are righteous and keep their promise and bestow upon them, upon all people of the wealth of Allah which He has bestowed upon you, so that they can make an agreement for their emancipation. It is also said that here the master is encouraged to forgive a third of what has been agreed upon with his slave who wants to buy out his freedom. Who wants to buy out his freedom, not her freedom, his freedom. So it looks like it's only the male slave that can buy out his own freedom, right? It's very specific here, talking about only the male is able to buy out his freedom. Okay. Then the following was revealed about Abdullah ibn Ubay and his host, because they used to force their female slaves to commit adultery in order to earn money from them and have more slaves as a result of the children they bore as a consequence. And so Allah forbade them from doing this and made such an act forbidden. Force not your slave girls to whoredom, that ye may seek enjoyment of the life of the world, from what they earn from working as prostitutes, and also from the children they give birth to, if they would preserve their chastity, if they want to remain chaste. And if one forces them, and if one forces these slave girls to commit adultery, then unto them, after their compulsion and repentance, lo, Allah will be forgiving. He forgives them, merciful, and fuck that. Allah forgives the people so long as they repent. Allah forgives the people that sold these girls into sex slavery. No wonder you didn't want to read it to us. No wonder. Guys, Allah, let me read it. Right? It says, for not your slave girls, force not your slave girls to whoredom, that you may seek enjoyment of the life of the world, from what they earn from working as prostitutes, and also from the children they give birth to, if they would preserve their chastity, if they want to remain chaste. And if one forces them, listen, right? If one forces these girls, slave girls, to do prostitution, right? And if one forces these girls to commit adultery, then unto them, after their compulsion and repentance, lo, Allah will be forgiving. He forgives them, merciful, and He will show mercy towards them after they die. Slave masters, after selling their sex slaves, Allah forgives them after they die. My goodness. That is horrible. That is just horrible. That is horrible. Wow. And Sheikh, what have you got to say about this?
If you allow me, I will basically explain everything to you, and so you can understand.
You have nothing to explain, I beg.
Wow.
Let's just move on. You have nothing to explain. You've been disingenuous, and you've been just talking and making false claims. You have nothing to say. There's nothing like opposing view. Your view is nonsense.
By the way,
Sheikh, can I ask you a question?
Sheikh, so
Afro
you're going
atheist.
to
No,
you're going
brother,
to
wait. Richard,
can I ask
wait,
you a
please hold
question?
on. Please, Richard, hold on.
No,
No,
because
hold on,
I've been
Richard,
holding
please hold
on.
on
I've
for
been
a
holding
minute.
on. I've been holding
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
Sheikh.
please hold on. I want to ask Afro something.
No, I want to continue with
Hold
this.
on.
No, Sheikh.
Afro
no,
asked
no,
me a question.
no. Oh, she did?
The
No.
host
I
asked me a
did ask him a
question.
question.
Afro, please.
I did ask him a
Washa.
question. I did ask him a question. Yes. I did ask him a question. What
So
do you
the
have
host,
to say
I
about
just
this?
want to hear this guy preach. There's nothing he
It's
has to
okay.
say.
the host
Okay.
asked me. Allow the host. It's her show. Why all of
Go
this?
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So you asked me, and I'm gonna explain this to you. Obviously, it was forbidden, right? And what happens when you go against the command of Allah, especially when it comes to zina? The punishment for zina, if you force someone into zina, you will be stoned or unalived.
Please,
So when this ruling
Zina?
came,
What is Zina?
committing unlawful sexual intercourse, that is what zina is. So if you force these girls to do these acts, it could be considered as graping, which the punishment for graping is unaliving in Islam. They will stone you to death. Right? We have hadith on this. We have rulings on this. That is why you don't have in a country where Sharia is practiced, you cannot do prostitution. Otherwise, you will be unalived.
We are not talking about doing
We
prostitution.
have rulings based
We're
on
not
these
talking
things.
about doing prostitution. These girls are forced into prostitution, right? So I'm asking, what is the
forced,
punishment?
otherwise,
What is the punishment for the ones who forced them into prostitution?
if you force them, then it means you have subjected them to graping, which means you will be unalived for doing that.
Can you give me a source for that, please?
I can give you sources. I can give you, hold on.
Can you give us evidence of people that were unalived for doing such acts?
Yeah, hold on. Just hold on.
Yeah, to their sex slaves, or not just any random sex slaves.
Is he saying
Yes,
that they
I
had
mean-
no sex slaves?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to
Yeah. Sheikh, can you tell us the last time in Afghanistan?
Sheik, you know better that they had sex slaves. Are
No,
you
Sheik.
seriously arguing there's no sex slaves?
Sheikh,
They had right-hand possessions.
Sheikh.
You
The
understand
right-hand
the
possession.
difference? There's nothing like sex slave in Islam. Are you
The
dumb?
right-hand possess is that you own a person that gives you the right to have intercourse with them.
Right-hand possession can be man, it can be a woman.
That's
it doesn't
fine,
necessarily
but can
mean
you
woman.
own a female and have the right to have intercourse with her?
Not if she doesn't want to. If she doesn't want to, you can't. If she wants to remain chaste, you can't.
So you believe that
People are funny.
it states that
You
that
believe
if she
that a
says
slave
no,
can consent?
a slave can consent. You seriously believe that?
You believe that a slave can consent?
It is literally what we just read. We literally just went through the whole tafsir on this. What are you people talking about?
I am so sorry for. I just thought I don't even have anything to say. This is why this will use this
We
this
literally
logic.
just went through the whole tafsir
I
on
beg,
this.
get out. This is how they use this thing to indoctrinate people.
We just read.
Look at what you just
It's not
read.
my fault that you don't have proper knowledge or that you refuse to have proper knowledge.
Excuse me. We just read about girls being forced into sex slavery. Please, where is the consent here? We just read it. They are forced into sex slavery. Guys, can we
If
tap
they
on the
desire, the
screen?
consent is.
Hold on,
Look at
can
the
we
verse
tap on the
literally
screen?
says.
Hold on. I'm so close to the live goal, people. Let's see.
Asking them foolish questions at this point.
Live goal. Just a few more. What do you call them? Coins, and we'll be at the live goal. All right. It's so close. Thank you, Bessie.
The verse literally says, if they desire chastity, meaning if they do not want any relation, if that is what they desire, you shouldn't.
After they have been
Did they
forced,
desire? Please, did they
after
desire
they
to
have
be
been
slaves?
forced. These
I
ones
beg.
have been forced already. These ones
And
have
if they
been
desire
forced
to be
already.
emancipated as well, you should draw a
Did they
contract
desire
for
to
them.
be slaves? Did they desire to be slaves?
Stop Sizzler said
Nobody
shake
desires to
hands.
be slaves. People don't desire to be in
So,
prison, but they're in prison.
so why do you own slaves?
Do you understand the concept of right-hand possession? Do you know how
No,
you can
explain it
get
to
a
me.
right-hand possession?
Please explain it to us.
There is only one way.
What is the
There is
way?
only one way. If they are in
What is the
battle,
way?
if they come to the battlefield. If they come to the
If they come to
battlefield,
the battlefield.
yes.
So if they come to the
That is the
battlefield,
only
you
way.
unalive some because you're going to unalive boys, obviously, and take the girls, right?
No, we don't have that command to unalive boys. Nope.
Okay, you take the
So,
girls. Why can't you
for
just let
example,
the girls go?
let me give you a
What
context.
is?
Hold on.
Give
Hold
me a
on.
context.
Let me give you a context. Let me give you a particular war that happened where this event was. For example, the Battle of Badr, right? The Battle of Badr. When the Prophet conquered the people of Quraysh
Hold on, no,
and the
hold on.
rest ran away.
Continue.
Those who remained,
One second.
Okay.
1 second. Please, 1 second. This Battle of Badr, or whatever, who was the instigator of the fight, the war?
we are going off a tangent, like we're going off the
I
point
always
right now.
want to know. I
That
always
is a
want
whole
to know.
different
I
topic.
always want to know about the wars in Islam. Who was the instigator of the war of Badr?
Of course, the Qurayshi people.
The Qurayshi people.
Yes.
And what did they do to the Prophet, and why did the Prophet go and conquer them?
Well, one, they exiled the Prophet. Two, they seized or they ensured that all trade routes were not accessible to the Prophet. So they left them no option, and they had to fight. They had no option than to fight.
Is there anyone who can back that up, please? I want to know, because I want to know.
I think
I can give you the history.
EMS, no, we cannot take anything from you. EMS have left, so I think we need to start asking personal questions. If your daughter was sold into slavery, would you like that, please? If
My
your young
daughter was sold into slavery.
yes, would you be okay with that in the war if she became somebody's right hand possessed?
I will not be okay with it as much as I will not be okay with my brother who is a soldier being unalived in the battlefield.
I did not talk about your brother being unalived in a battle. I said if your daughter or your sister was somebody's right
Those
hand
are all
possessed.
consequences of battle.
There are consequences of battle. Wow, that's nice. That is good.
Yes.
I think we've got.
The consequence of battle is either you're unalived or you're captured. Those are the things.
So there's no dialogue.
Is that not so?
There's no
Even in
dialogue.
modern warfare,
So there's no dialoguing at all. In your own.
there is dialoguing, of course.
Afro, I want you guys to understand something. This man is saying that even his own daughter,
The question is that how many of you have to debate with the only one person, basically?
Adam, I beg, Adam, you have not been introduced. You hold yourself.
Exactly.
What is this one's problem?
Adam, you have not been introduced.
Only one person.
Who is this one? So what? Waiting do you? Waiting do you? Waiting do you, Adam? Waiting do you?
Does he look like
Are you on colors?
The way Adam even came up, you already know he's going to spill nonsense. You just know.
Adam, I can handle them, brother.
Even with you're not handling anything. You have just showed us how
I've had
immoral
two
you are,
ex-Muslims run
how
away, so
unintelligent
these
your
ones are
God
nothing.
is. They did not run away. They went to do something. You just
Really?
and
Okay,
showed us
that's
how
fine.
immoral your God is. You showed us how unintelligent your God is. You showed us how your God cannot control or command anything, but allow people to fight. You've showed us that your God has enemies. You showed us how much of a dumb God your God is. And you've showed us how immoral you are and how godless you are too. And how you don't have compassion and emotion. And this is what this religion does to you guys. And this is why you guys go to these nonsense religions. Moral behavior.
Do you think you're a
who's-
good person, Jezebel?
We're
Are you
just
a
talking
good
about
person?
right hand possessed. I'm better than your God. Even if I'm not a good person, I'm better than your nonsense, misogynistic God.
So if you're not a good person, on what
Really?
grounds do you judge other people?
Wait, good. Did I
So
tell
by
you
your
I'm
own
not a good
stand,
person?
You're an evil person. I can tell you for sure. Prove to me that you're not an evil
God
person.
is evil
Yes,
too. So what is your problem?
Again, you say, what's the problem?
Sheik, did anybody call you
Prove to me
evil?
that you're not an evil person.
Sheba, Sheik.
I cannot prove
God
that
is
to
an
you. I
evil
have nothing to
person.
prove to
We're
you.
discussing
Oh,
your
okay.
evil
That's fine
God.
then.
Yet you cannot even defend your evil God. You now want to talk about an evil person.
I'm
Let's
not here.
keep it on the
Listen, I'm not
topic
even
of
here to
your
defend.
evil gods, right? You can't
I'm not here to
measure the
defend
evilness
God.
that your God has with the evilness of a human being.
Okay.
We're discussing your evil gods.
Just for the
Keep it
sake
on
of
point.
Okay.
So
So
you want to put me in
Hold
that
on.
equivalence? That is
I need
false
to get this.
For the
equivalence.
sake of the life, so we don't get the thing brought down. Yeah, let's move on from this whole evil God thing, right? We know the God
I
is
need to get you to. Thank you. I need to get you to understand something.
No,
I'm
you
not
don't
here
need
to
to get
defend
anyone
God.
to get anything
You don't need to
understood.
get us to
You have been
understand
What?
anything.
You have been cooked and you're trying to deflect. You've been cooked.
We're moving on from that, please. We're moving on from that conversation. So, Traore.
Yeah, Traore. The question is that basically you guys are trying to deny the religion and so on and so forth. You said you are
Can you please
denying.
hear me? Can you please listen to me as you hear me? Can you please listen to me? Are you a Muslim? Mr. Traore, are you a Muslim?
Who, me? Hello?
Are you a Muslim?
Am I a Muslim?
No, I'm not talking to you. Traore, can you unmute yourself? Traore, are you a Muslim?
Of course, I'm a Muslim. Why not?
Okay, and are you from Africa?
I'm African. Yeah, basically, I'm African.
What part of Africa are you from?
I'm from Burkina Faso and basically Mali.
Okay, Burkina Faso and Mali. So, so how did Islam get to your part of Africa?
No, that I have to ask you a question first. Basically,
No,
I think
I
basically
ask questions first.
you already finished with my brother.
I ask questions first.
No, but I have to ask you basically, where are you taking
I want
us
to
to?
ask questions. Go and start your own live stream.
Because it doesn't.
I will let you ask me your questions. Please answer my questions first. I will let you ask me questions. It's okay. I will let you ask me, but please answer the questions first. How did Islam get to your part of Africa?
No way.
He's gone. Okay.
He ran away. Do you know what, Afro? That guy, he's just typical of
baby.
Yeah, not just that women shouldn't have a voice. That is why he's coming up with, how many of you are going to debate one person? Rah, 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 rah. I will ask you a question. You don't do that. You don't go to someone's house and start asking them questions, right? But because it's women that are on the panel asking him questions, he doesn't want to take it. In fact, he cannot take it. It's terrible what these beliefs do to people.
It is terrible.
Look at what you just read. The man has taken his slaves and is pimping them out, and the guy is seeing nothing wrong with it. He sees nothing wrong with it.
Allah will even forgive.
Exactly.
No punishment for the ones who did it.
It just goes to show women are just possessions. They're nothing more than materials to just pass around and make money off of and do whatever you want, and nothing will happen to you. This is what their book teaches them. So what more when they come on TikTok or just in general life, when they come across women? It's terrible.
Come correct. There. Come correct. Hello. Come correct. Are you a Muslim or a Christian?
I'm a Christian.
With a name like that, you're a Christian?
Pardon?
With a name like that, you're a Christian?
It's not my name. It's just my, my on here name.
Oh, so with an avatar like that, you're a Christian?
Yeah,
whatever is that name?
It's not a name. It's not my name. It's just I'm telling people to come correct. It's a bit,
Okay. All right. So, so you say you're a Christian, yeah?
Yes.
Afro,
Okay.
his DP looks like there's fire coming out of his nyash. I don't understand.
That's I'm on a bike, electric bike.
Why is there fire there?
Because it's the brake light on the bike.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Imagine I'm doing a wheel down the bottom. Look, I'm doing a stunt on the bike.
Oh,
all right. Okay.
Can you tell us why are you a Christian?
First and foremost, probably because I was born into it, and then I practiced it now and again, and then as I've got older, I practiced it more and more now. I think I should say I'm like a full Christian.
How do you practice Christianity?
Go to church, helping people, the way my morals are, the way I look at life. I follow the commandments. I don't really swear. I don't really do things that go against Christianity.
What church do you go to?
Pardon?
What church do you go to?
Oh, just a church in Birmingham. Just a church. I don't really want to say that on the air.
It's okay. Is it a Pentecostal church? Is it a Catholic church? Is it what sort of?
It's like a Pentecostal kind of thing. Yeah, we'll just say that. Oh, well, I don't really want to say, to be honest.
Okay, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Okay, so as a Christian, would you consider yourself saved?
Safe.
Are you saved?
Yeah.
Are you saved by Jesus?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what did Jesus save you from?
What did Jesus save me from?
Yes. If you are saved, thank you. That's beautiful.
I don't know too much. Like I said, I'm a Christian boy. Birth. I only go church. Like, Jesus saved me from sin.
Jesus saved you from sin.
Yeah.
So you don't sin anymore, no?
No.
So you don't no more sin. So you don't lust in your heart, no.
No more, no.
No more.
No, I used to.
When did it stop?
Maybe 3-4 years ago.
You've been a Christian all your life, and you only stopped 3-4 years ago.
Because I wasn't a proper practicing Christian all that time.
Okay. So do you lie?
No.
You don't lie at all?
No.
So you don't commit any sins at all?
It depends what some people, we'd have to go into each individual. Some people could say eating certain foods is a sin. We're doing certain things is a sin. Listening to music could be a sin in certain religions. So do you understand where I'm going? Yeah?
Yeah, but is there no, sorry, does that mean that there's no, how do we know what's sin and what isn't sin then? Because it looks like, from what you're saying, it looks like everyone can, sin can be whatever you think it is. How do you know what's a sin, what isn't a sin in Christianity?
I don't really know a clear answer for that, but I've sinned in the past. Yes, I have definitely sinned. So that's why I can tell there's a big difference between sinning and not sinning.
So now you don't sin anymore?
No.
How will you know you're not sinning if you don't even know what sin is?
I do know what sin is, doing wrong things, and I know exactly what sin is.
So what are the wrong things? How do you know what are the things you shouldn't be doing?
Because I've just learned that, boy, just morality. I've
Sorry?
learned that through morality.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I've learned that through morality.
Through morality. Morality, from where do you get the morality from?
From being, I suppose, from being born into a Christian family. Bless God, God bless.
So Christian morality, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So you sound like you're a black man, yeah?
I'm mixed race.
You're mixed race. And your black heritage, where's that from?
I'm Spanish, Jamaican, Polish, Irish.
Okay. So do you know how your parents and grandparents, how they became Christians?
No, I'm looking into that now because my dad died when I was really young. When I was young, so I didn't know much about that side.
Okay. It's really hard to have a conversation with you because you're not even. Wait. So what did you come and talk about then?
I was just listening, and I just come up to see I found what I could.
So are you guaranteed a place in heaven?
That's God's. That's up to God. I think I've earned that, but that's
No, but you're saved, no? You're a Christian. You're saved. Are you guaranteed a place? You've been a Christian all your life. All your life, you were born into the religion. Now you've made whatever turn around.
I think yeah.
Are you guaranteed?
Mm-hmm.
You're guaranteed a place in heaven.
I think that should be, yeah.
Okay, what gives you that guarantee?
Because the way I've changed my life and the way if you look at the scriptures and things and you do things right and you change your life and you follow God, then you know it's heaven, isn't it?
No, my question is there anywhere in the book that tells you when you change your life, you are going to heaven?
Well, yeah.
There's a verse?
I don't know if it's exactly right, but somebody is anybody else more knowledgeable on it than me? But it's just like you picking me apart. I'm just telling you my personal experience.
Oh, okay. Jezebel, you have a question?
Yes, come correct. How do you rationalize the thought that when you are in heaven, there will be people burning in hell?
Because I don't. This is gonna sound weird. I don't believe in like people are just gonna go. They're gonna be like a different place. But if you want to call that hell,
What is the name of your God, please?
pardon?
The name of your God.
Jesus. Did you hear it? Hello.
What is the name? What is the name?
I said Jesus.
The name. Okay. Does Jesus have hell?
Does he have what?
Hellfire.
Well, yeah, but
Yes. The answer is yes.
yeah.
Jesus spoke more about hell.
Okay. So how do you rationalize the thought of worshiping a God that owns in a place that people will be burning for eternity?
Because people have got different views and different ways of looking at things. So you can pick apart things like that. So like I said,
Susan, did you mean to come up, Susan? Susan, did you mean to come up?
Yeah, let Susan come on. Someone that's more knowledgeable has a bit more knowledge.
Sometimes it's an accident. Sometimes it needs to come up.
Afro, do you see how even when they are being innocent, they are not all that innocent? Because we just asked you how you rationalize the thought of serving a God that has a place that people burn for eternity. You said, I don't know. That's nice.
Susan, are you there? I don't think Susan knows that she's up here.
I don't think she came up because she wanted to.
Okay. Anyway, people. I don't know if I might call it a night tonight, folks. Need to get some rest. Thank you all so much for joining in the conversation. Appreciate you all.
Okay, no, bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Vessel of Dishonor, thank you for a wonderful night. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for the claps, for the gifts, for the shares. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Afro.
You're welcome.
Good night, everyone.
All right, everyone. Honey Crown, Phil, everybody, Susan, Evan Patterson, hey.